let's get on with it. Thank you so much for joining today's Fuel Your Enthusiasm, How Now Assist for ITSM Will Supercharge Your IT Service Management webinar from Live on ServiceNow. During today's session, you may hear some forward-looking, you may hear some forward-looking statements. And one other thing I wanted to share. All right, you may hear some forward-looking statements. Anything that we talk about today that pertains to functionality that is not yet generally available represents a plan and not a promise, so please act accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and post in the chat where you'll be able to find the recording of today's webinar. And also let you know that today's webinar is a part of Live on ServiceNow, a curated event series to connect you with ServiceNow experts and peers that can help you to deploy your products and achieve value faster. We hope you join us again at another Live on ServiceNow webinar or 360 Exchange event. You can see the schedule by scanning the QR code here or using the link in the chat. And Brian or guys, if one of you guys can please add that in the chat, that would be great. All right, a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. We've saved some time at the end for questions and answers, but we have the Q&A capability for you to leverage at the bottom of the screen along the way. Please go ahead and enter in your questions. Got an expert panel on the line today that will be able to respond quickly. This presentation is being recorded and will be shared on the community. I just shared the link to that where it'll be posted. And then after the event, you'll be prompted to fill out a short survey. So we'd really appreciate your feedback. I'm real excited about the content we have to share today. And you know, we want these hours that we get with you to be as valuable as they can. So your candid feedback is very much appreciated. I'll start off with a quick set of introductions. My name is Jeff Fox. I'm the one that's been speaking so far. I'm a product manager here at ServiceNow. I've been working on our Now Assist product line for 4 months at this point. But I've been with ServiceNow 2.5 years. Really love working with customers, talking about our products, how to get value from them, how to use them, and just to learn more about what you can do with them. So I'm real excited to be here. We've got a couple colleagues on the line as well. Brian, do you mind introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Brian. You might have seen me on some other Live on ServiceNow events if you joined them in the past. Similar to Jeff, I'm also on the ITSM GenAI team. Been on it since it first started late last year, and really excited to show off some of the capabilities today to you guys.
Thanks, Brian. Gokul?
Hey all, my name is Gokul Nair. I am a Principal Product Success Manager within the ITSM BU here at ServiceNow. Been with ServiceNow for more than 3 years. So looking forward to talking to you and helping you through the Now Assist implementation process.
Great, thanks guys. Okay, and we've got Scott Gamble on the line as well, helping with Q&A, so thanks so much, Scott. Sharing a couple resources here at the open. We'll share this slide again, and Brian, if you can please copy some of these into the chat, some of these links into the chat for folks. I want you to definitely pay attention to what we're going to be sharing today. We have some new content to share, and also I got to ask for a little leeway. You know, we have some new content that we're sharing, and I'm sharing it from a new computer in a new office. So, you know, things seem to be pretty stable here, but would appreciate a little understanding if things go off. And in addition, our demo will be on a new instance as well. So I'm sure it's going to work out great, though. It's going to be great. So let's go ahead and move into this. And we've got, you know, some content that you may have seen before. So I'm going to try to move through it as quickly as possible to get to some of the newer and more exciting stuff, as well as the demo content and some of the new capabilities that we recently launched. But as you may know, you know, we at ServiceNow talk to customers on an everyday basis, and we hear similar things from them around the fact that increasing productivity while maintaining a good requester and user experience is really mission critical for them. And most every customer has these needs surface as a mission critical objective in one form or another. And it's easy to understand why, the challenges seem to be reasonably common across a lot of customers. Self-service content can be very limited. It could be not engaging for users, which can lead to reduced effectiveness and more tickets actually being generated. And then when those tickets are generated, for an agent to get up to speed on it, they would typically need to review all the chat transcript, if there is a chat transcript, or reach out to the user to try to get up to speed. And that can be difficult. And then if they need to find information or transfer that ticket to a second agent may have the same amount of trouble getting up to speed. They may review what the first agent did, maybe even repeat some of that content. And then when they find a solution for a given issue, what's recorded might not be very useful. So it could result in resolution notes that don't follow best practices and an inability to create knowledge articles that would not really improve the overall quality of service, not help address the same question in the future. And to address these, we're really looking to support these personas, and would really appreciate hearing from folks in the audience about any other personas that you might like to see addressed, if any. These are very generic, and depending on your industry, you may call them different things. But for the requester, we really want to support, and for all of these, we want to support leveraging best practices. Requesters, we want to be able to leverage self-service to ultimately satisfy themselves, satisfy their needs in a expedited way that is satisfying for them and results in the deflection of tickets to the extent possible. For agents, we want to see them process information, get up to speed faster, and then develop better documentation. And Now Assist is really designed to help support that. And then from an owner perspective, we want to see return on investment and an overall low cost of ownership that's really driven through the speed of deploying Now Assist in the relative simplicity that we're striving for to have this consumer grade experience. And let's just take a quick look at how this might be perceived in the field. So I'm going to show a typical flow here that may happen today, where an employee is faced with a problem and they look for an answer online. And if they're not able to find it, they may reach out to a live agent, and the live agent may not be able to find any information to help, but they have to review the entire chat to understand it, and then try to look for content to address that. And if they can't find that content to satisfy the initial interaction, they may look for articles and not find it because the content just doesn't exist today for them either. And when they go to transfer, the tier 2 agent would also not benefit very much from the notes that are shared along with the initial incident. So they've got to go back and review everything and make sure that they understand what the question is so that they can provide a good response. And then when that response is provided and the resolution is achieved, they may or may not provide useful resolution notes. And depending on what's there, knowledge articles may not be able to be generated based on that. However, using Now Assist, we see a different experience, right? Right off the bat, if an employee is not able, or a requester is not able to find the information that they're looking for, and they initiate a chat, the chat is summarized by Now Assist. And so the agent's able to get up to speed very quickly through chat summarization. And then with incident summarization, the tier 2 agent is able to see and have much better context and review the chat summary as well to get up to speed faster and better understand what's needed. And when the resolution is completed, Now Assist generates the resolution notes itself, and there's a capability to develop a knowledge article based on the content that's in the case. And that provides better content back to the original agent. So if they're faced with this issue again, they'll be able to address it without sending it on to a tier 2 agent, keeping costs down. And ultimately, the employee will be able to find that answer themselves. So that's really the vision for what we're trying to do with Now Assist for ITSM. And, through it all, Now Assist really is designed to drive self-service, reduce the overall time to mean time to resolve an incident, with better service quality that provides better experiences to requesters and agents as well as owners, and lowers the overall total cost of ownership. Okay, so from a self-service perspective, I just want to take a couple of minutes to dive into what we're really talking about here. The requester self-service capabilities delivered by Now Assist for ITSM are very invaluable. The more engaging the content, the more likely a requester is to get the answers that they're seeking or complete the work that they're going to do without creating a ticket. And this really provides an excellent experience for the end user requester and a great result for the business. And the kicker is that Now Assist solutions can be deployed in minutes. All right, and from an agent productivity perspective on Now Assist, just to dig into this one a little bit deeper, driving productivity for the agent experience is paramount. Reducing the mean time to resolve, improving service quality, providing an excellent experience and low total cost of ownership, we say yes to it all. Your system's content would inform the agent and the employee or requester, while the resolution notes and knowledge article generations would be generated by Now Assist. And this summarized content leads to fewer missteps, and it all leads to a better experience for the agent. The relative ease of configuration caps off this benefit from Now Assist for ITSM in terms of agent productivity. And so overall, when we look at how ServiceNow, we'll look at ServiceNow's approach to generative AI, it's really based on our trusted infrastructure with the level of security that we've already baked into it, that as customers, you may already know well. It's all based on your own data and integrated into the platform. Now and in the future, you'll be able to leverage the Now LLM as well as start to bring your own LLM. The knowledge just builds on top of itself. And we really are looking to leverage the best LLM for the purpose. So you'll see the Now LLM as well as additional Now LLM services that we'll be talking about more in future sessions, but we're trying to expand the capabilities to provide the right service for the right application. And this is where we'd really like to hear back from you. So if you can let us know either in the chat today or in the survey, that would be great. The more feedback we can get, the better products we'll be able to build. And this all goes to provide better experiences for your requesters, your agents, and admins. So this is ServiceNow's approach to generative AI. And just want to underscore the fact that from the initial request through the presentation of generated responses, you can trust Now Assist and the ServiceNow platform to deliver results with peace of mind. So with that, I just want to show real quick how we baked generative AI into the platform and into Now Assist, into ITSM in general. And ever since ChatGPT debuted in 2022, we've been thinking hard about how to leverage this technology. And we found that all of our workflows can stand to benefit. So that we've been weaving this capability into the fabric of the platform. And when you start from the core here, for Now Assist for ITSM, and you move into the platform, you're able to leverage Now Assist and generative AI all the way across. So it really leverages the capabilities of interpreting data and generating responses throughout. And when you get started with ITSM, leveraging incident and problem management and change all the way through the cycle here on the left under ITSM standard, as you start to build your foundation and add, you can add more data and analytics. And that's where ITSM Pro and Pro Plus, which includes Now Assist, really come into play. So when you're leveraging Virtual Agent, you're documenting tasks to get a release out. You can start to include not just IT, but all of your deliverables around all of your teams around legal, security, marketing, et cetera. You can start to manage your vendor performance. You can leverage dynamic translation. And as you get all the way through and you're really gaining maximum value from the platform, you can expand into enterprise to either as an add-on or not to get more value in terms of the process mining to understand why scores are the way that they are across your entire platform, and then also leverage the value of our workforce optimization solution. So there's more that we're adding all the time. And I got to tell you, the pace of innovation is really extreme. One of the things to call out is the fact that it's important to stay up to date on your ServiceNow versioning, because as we are developing more capabilities leveraging Now Assist, they all require the latest version of ServiceNow. So really want to see folks, customers start to adopt the latest version in order to take advantage of the latest capabilities. So I'll pause right there, and sorry, I know that was a fair bit. I'm about ready to get into the demo, but I'm wondering, Brian, Gokul, are there any questions that have come into the chat you want to speak to?
No, I think we're good, Jeff. You can go ahead and dive into the demo.
All right, so thank you. Okay, so what I'd like to do, guys, is show you a little bit about how Now Assist works and can be leveraged, and get some feedback on the capabilities. So you may have seen this before, but I'm going to start out here as an employee, and I'm just going to say, what is spam? And I'm logged in today as Joe employee. So he's in Employee Center. This is ServiceNow's employee-facing front end. And one of the things that's really useful about Now Assist and AI Search, which is what we're looking at here, is that it goes in, indexes your knowledge articles and catalog items, and when a query is put in, it finds the article that provides the best answer and puts that in front of our LLM to generate an actual response. So instead of seeing a summary, Joe is presented with an answer here. He asked, what is spam? And this is an actual summary of, an actual answer that speaks to what spam is. So he doesn't have to go in and search the article. He could if he wants, and the link is right here. But this is a real time saver and one of the items that we find of great value. And so this is where I'd like, Brian, if we could roll the first poll question. This is where we'd really like to understand, this is a use case, and folks, we'd really like to understand if you have use cases that you think Now Assist and AI Search may be really valuable for. This is a good opportunity for us to hear your feedback and understand where you think this capability may be useful for you, and it might help us make some improvements on it. So please take a moment, go ahead and enter in where you think this may be useful. And we'll just give a moment for folks to chime in. All right. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and proceed. Please, let's leave that poll going for until we start up the next one, Brian. I'm going to go ahead now, and we're going to look at Now Assist and Virtual Agent. So I'm going to come in here as Joe, and I've got a handful of questions that I'd like to work on. The first is, I've just got a general question. Can I expense Wi-Fi on a plane? Right? He's going to travel. He knows he wants to get some work done, and he'd really like an answer to this question. All right, so here I should call out, this is this is functionality within Virtual Agent that is just released in the June release, where we have this carousel. But basically, you can see that according to this travel and expense reimbursement policy, airplane Wi-Fi is an expense that can be reimbursed for work-related travel. So again, instead of having to go in and find a policy and look into it and then interpret it, Joe's able to just ask a question and get a quick and easy answer, right? So pretty good result there. After that, Joe's got another query, right? And I'm going to share, I'm going to check ticket status is what I'm going to do. This is leveraging an out-of-the-box LLM-powered topic that was released in May. And so what we'll see here is Joe used natural language to ask about checking the ticket status. Now, he's got a whole lot of tickets here that we have in this demo environment, but I'm going to select this one. And he didn't have, this was something that just was available out of the box, literally took less than a minute to get set up. And you can see here that he's able to see the latest comments, and he can even add a comment. And I'm going to go to this just to try to make it a little bit more interesting. Oh, shoot, that didn't work exactly like I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter a comment. Said an update on this case. And what we'll do is we'll just go into Joe's request to get a look at this. So this is that same request. And you can see here where he was able to ask about the update on the case. It actually went into the record, and that was all due to the out-of-the-box LLM-powered topic, right? So pretty cool. Last up, we're going to have Joe try to leverage a service catalog item through virtual agent. So I'm going to bring up Miro, and it is a service catalog item where he can come in and request this application. It only requires a business justification. So I'm just going to paste this in. He's going to come into virtual agent, and rather than having to work through this, if this is again, if he was on Employee Center, this would be easy enough to go through, but he doesn't actually have to. This is just for illustrative purposes. So I'm going to say I need Miro to complete a customer feedback session, right? This is a relatively natural language way to go in. He's going to go ahead and with virtual agent, Now Assistant Virtual Agent has found the Miro catalog item. So he's going to initiate this request, and I'm going to say yes. And you can see here the business justification is already entered in, so it didn't have to ask him this question. If he didn't put anything in and just said Miro and went into the request, then he would have been prompted to enter in a business justification. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this, and I'm going to bypass adding an attachment. All right, and there's the request. So just like that, all using natural language. So now, Brian, if we could roll the second poll question, would really like to hear from the audience about, we went through and oh, that's actually the wrong question, I think, Brian. Can we go back to and roll question 2? There we go. Thank you, sir. We use Now Assistant Virtual Agent, and we just did 3 things really quickly, right? We used Now Assistant AI search through Virtual Agent to find an answer to can I expense Wi-Fi. We used the out-of-the-box topic to check a ticket status, and we were able to put a comment in on it. And we also did a conversational service catalog item. So those are what we just showed using Now Assistant Virtual Agent. Would really like to understand from the audience if there's any additional use cases for your business, for your organization. How would this be most useful for you? So please take a moment to enter in a couple of use cases. All right. While that's going, thank you, folks. I'm going to go ahead and proceed on to chat summarization. So I'm going to start out here in Now Assistant Virtual Agent one more time. And I'm going to ask for the data analysis pack in Excel. So this is a use case that we leverage where let me just double check. Sorry to show behind the curtain here so much. All right. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a quick clean up here to get back into my instance. So bear with me. I'm going to pause the share. So if you could please take a moment to write the response to the prior poll question. I think there's a lot there. Also, guys, while I'm doing this, if there's additional questions in the chat that you want to speak to or questions in Q&A, this would probably be a good time. Brian, are there any other questions there?
Yeah, we just got a question that came in asking, why is the chat instantly terminated after an action is concluded?
Sorry, man.
Why is the chat instantly terminated after an action is concluded?
It's a good question. Let's see here. Gokul, I'm actually wondering if you can speak to that. I would need to, I believe, dig into it a little bit more. What I do know is we have some fallback mechanisms if a chat is not completed successfully, but I believe that interaction was successfully done, and there was nothing else from the VA perspective to do. But Gokul, can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, talking about the virtual agent, right? Just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we do have fallback mechanisms. So we'll have to go back and look at that particular instance if there is a fallback already configured. Now, as part of the configuration of the virtual agent, you can go into chat experience and add your fallback as whether you want a search fallback or like, for instance, if you want to go to a survey question or anything else. So you can configure those as well, like your traditional VA if you have experience with that. Now, in this case, I didn't specifically see what was the response, but I would be the case that the response was already provided and the fallback is not configured, and that's why it concluded. But technically, you can configure that. It's not a big deal.
Thank you. All right. Anything else, Brian?
There's another one. Is there a separate charge for next experience on ITSM as well as separate charge for next experience on HR? I think by next experience, Jason, you might be referring to Now Assist. In which case the answer is yes. Now Assist for ITSM is a separate SKU, as well as Now Assist for HR is also a separate SKU that you would need to purchase.
Right. But for next experience, it comes with any standard. It comes with a standard subscription, does it not? We want customers to be on the next experience.
Yes, next experience refers to our workspaces like SOW, and that's no additional upcharge. If you have ITSM, you should have all the next experience. You should have access to all the next experience issues.
All right. Okay. Thanks. I'm ready to proceed here, guys. So if we can kind of come back to where we were originally, I had asked about the data analysis pack in Excel, right? This is a situation where Joe needs this pack to conduct some statistical analysis. He's not able to find it. So this answer around big data is obviously not what he wants to see. So I'm just going to click see something that we need something else, and I'm going to go to chat with a live agent. All right, and here's where we bring in our live agent, David. What I'd really like to share at this point is the fact that David is this tier 1 agent. He's coming in to see what this user needs. And instead of having to read through what could have been a longer chat transcript, he's presented by this chat summary by Now Assist. He's able to quickly see that the requester started this conversation, asked about the data analysis pack. Information was provided, but Joe wanted to see more, and he goes through this, and it takes mere moments to read through a set of bullets instead of having to scroll through the entire thing. So if we could run our next poll, I believe it would be number 3 here, Brian. We'd like to understand from customers, this was a very simple use case where we talked about the data analysis pack in Excel. Yeah, number 3, perfect, thank you. But this could be anything. And for your own business, we'd like to understand more of the use cases that you might see as useful for this particular capability around chat summarization. The same thing could also be leveraged in transferring this incident from from the virtual agent to the live agent. It could also be used between this agent and another agent. All right. So please do let us know. I am now going to bring in another agent. This is Abel, and he's got a set of tasks that are assigned to him, set of incidents rather. One of them is this incident that where a user, Joe, cannot connect to Excel. This was what we saw quite a bit of on the prior when we used the out-of-the-box topic to check the ticket status. So here, what we'll see is if Abel's going to come in, say that he is new to the case, he can come in and leverage instant summarization right off the bat to get up to speed without having to go through this entire length of activity. So we'll click on summarize. And we see here that a succinct summary is put together with the issue, key actions taken, as well as service level agreement and affected CIs. So what I'd like to call out here is that the incident summarization, we've added additional prompt management capabilities with the May release. So we're adding, this is the first iteration of customization of the incident summary itself. You can imagine the possibilities here, based on what your organization finds valuable based on incident data. You're going to be able to add a limited series of headers based on the May release, and as we go through August, we'll be opening this up even more. But you can look at the impacted and affected configuration items. You could also add in child incidents. Are there any child incidents for this case, to give your agent the most useful background to help them proceed a case through to closure. So I hope that's useful in terms of seeing the power of incident summarization rather than the agent having to scroll through. So with that, Brian, can we move on to poll question number 4? Number 4, please. There we go. Same drill here. We used a really simple use case here where we just showed a summary showing a handful of items from the incident itself. Let us know what would be useful for you. Share what a use case might look like, and we'll see what the high runners are, what will help the most people, and share the feedback within our team to try to meet your use case more specifically. Okay, so on the same incident, I'm just gonna mark it as resolved, right? There may or may not be more content, but within the context of this, there's been a lot of back and forth with another agent. We're just gonna go ahead and mark this resolved. And here you can see Now Assist is generating resolution notes. This isn't anything that Abel had to do. Now Assist went in to the notes of the case and the content of the incident and generated this set of resolution notes. So I'm just going to indicate solution provided and resolve this case. So now our case is resolved. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And this is where, Brian, if we could go ahead and move on. I appreciate the people who provided responses. If we could move to poll question 5. Would like to see, from your perspective, what are the use cases that you might see around resolution notes? Are there any bits of functionality that may be of interest to you or your organization? Right. And then finally, the last part of the demo here, I'm going to go ahead and create knowledge. Now, I don't think we've shared this in too many of our prior webinars. This is another capability that came out in our May release. We've had it in Innovation Labs, but it's generally available now. with our Washington patch 3, which does constitute the May release. So I'm going to go through and create a knowledge base article based on the content in this incident. The way that this instance is set up, it just has one knowledge base, so I'm going to choose that. We have the ability to leverage either a standard template or the KCS template. For simplicity here, I'm just going to leverage standard, but if you have a knowledge-centered service template that you might leverage, and you have this solution from ServiceNow, you could leverage Now Assist to generate the article, and this is how it works. So you're presented with a modal where you can either write the knowledge article yourself, and in this case, I think an agent could also propose it. Otherwise, a knowledge manager could come into the incident and follow the same process. Knowledge article generation is in the incident within SOW and within Classic UI today. It is not in the knowledge module yet. So I believe that's on the roadmap. But for today, this is in the incident itself, and I'm going to go ahead and click to draft the article. All right. So you can see here the LLM took the content that was in the case and just wrote this article. It changes from time to time. You know, if I ran this same request again, it might have a slightly different format. But this is a great starting point for your agent or for your knowledge writer to have the content put together. This could save 10 to 30 minutes, maybe even more, based on what they would do to write an article. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to publish it. And just to give you an idea for what we can do here, back to the incident. It's this one right here. So this is marked as completed now. But here's that article. So if Joe got this case for somebody else, he'd be able to go in, search for unable to connect to VPN due to missing software, and he'd be able to review this article and potentially triage that case. And I should have probably, you know, highlighted the fact that the short description was automatically added. This could have been updated as well. It's published now. But in any case, we've gone through a lot of the content, some of the new items, new highlight items for the May release, as well as some of the core functionality of Now Assist for ITSM. So that's where the demo ends. Oh, actually, Brian, can we run the last poll question? Would really like to understand, you know, we looked at knowledge article generation just now. We did this can't connect to VPN case, and it developed this article. Please let us know what use cases you might have, you know, specifically for your business. What do you think would be a good use case for this knowledge article generation capability? And with that, I'm gonna stop sharing or stop the demo, and we'll proceed. Poll questions. Great. And I'll go ahead and pause here. Brian, are there questions in the chat or Q&A that we should be addressing before we move on?
We just got a question around creating knowledge articles based on a cluster of incidents. And that is on our roadmap. That should be coming in August. Basically, you'll be able to create a knowledge article from a group of similar incidents.
Thanks,
And
Brian.
we have one more. Are there any plans in the works to use article generation for existing KBs already in place, trying to get everything in the same standard format? Do you want to take that one, Jeff?
Yeah, that's on the roadmap as well. I believe it's in Q4, if I'm not mistaken, but we definitely want to be able to reduce redundancy of maybe articles that address the same question, as well as be able to improve the writing of existing articles. So yes, that's on the roadmap. Also, that's a good opportunity to mention at the end of this session, you'll get a survey, and on question 6, there's the ability to enter in anything. And we're going to offer some roadmap sessions. So please, if you're interested in knowing more about the roadmap, add your information, your name and email address, your company name into that survey, and we'll follow up with you to run a roadmap session where you'll be able to see more details about what's coming. All right. Other questions, Brian?
Yes. Okay, so one question from Mark. One thing that we have noticed in case summarization is a lot of issues are simple types of fixes. So summarization can't provide anything. The new items might improve this, but wondered if summarization is something that could run upon opening rather than having agents select it.
I'd like to hear from a couple of our panelists. I know that it would consume an assist if we did that. I'm presuming it might be possible to do it, but I think that it is a manual button click at this point because there's a limited number of us, or there it would count as an assist, which could potentially have a cost impact.
Yeah, I think that's it, Jeff. I think, we're trying to be cognizant of using the assists, right? And if you automatically summarize every incident, if you're a high volume customer, you could burn through those quite quickly. So the UI click is a way to be, economical with those assists.
Thanks, Scott.
No, I think having said that, if, like in case of chat summarization, we provide an option to toggle whether the summarization needs to be available upon opening the chat. We could possibly think something like that. It's a great feedback, right? Something for us to take back and discuss with our product team as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering too, we had a conditional visibility item that actually launched. I'm not sure if I have a slide on it in this deck. I don't see it. But you can where we had when we launched and up until May, there was no ability to indicate when a skill would show up. There is more customization around that now. So if you're on Washington Patch 3, that is something when you're going through and configuring your skills that you can configure.
Okay. Another question just came in. Will the summarization include suggestions about existing incidents or problem tickets reported for a similar issue?
Love that. I don't think it will address other existing incidents today. Let me pause there. Gokul, is that right?
It will report child incidents and I think problems as well in the summarization if it's linked to that incident record. But it will not be able to search the entire database or table of existing incidents and identify which ones seem to be similar from the one that you're already looking at.
Yeah. That said, I've heard this problem detection feedback before, and that's something that we've got on the roadmap. I think we're more focused on service resilience and change management at the moment, but moving into problem, I think, is an area that we've got the team focused on because I've heard it from a couple of customers at this point, Paige. So really appreciate that bit of feedback. I think the answer to that is no today, but to be on the roadmap, you bet.
Yeah, I think I wanted to talk a little bit about that, right? So I saw another question on similarity as well. So currently the concept of similarity is based on intelligence, which is traditionally it's predictive intelligence. And now we have the product task intelligence, which is available for the agent. So they'll be able to look at what is a similar and probably a similar problem to the question that Paige you asked. And the summarization is technically on certain fields that we are already available. And right now it's getting extended with prompt configurability, including child incidents and things like that. I think it's an interesting concept of trying to mix the summarization piece with the similarity piece. It's more like the recommendations. Is recommendation available through summarization, right? Currently it's two different concepts. So I think there's some kind of brainstorming required whether it would be really valuable because we already have that available as part of recommended actions on the side panel for the agents. So does it really provide value if you try to kind of mix recommendations into summarization? So good discussion. I think something for us to take back and discuss. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that the agent shouldn't get overwhelmed with a lot of information there as well. So it's a great question there, though.
Yeah, I think we could do a whole webinar on this as well, right? Because you've got two other vectors that come to mind as well, like AI ops. So, detecting that stuff through the existing CMDB and the stuff you've got going on, but also, emerging products like our digital experience management solution, DEX, where you're taking all these different areas and looking at creating patterns and recognizing them. So I think, we need to look at all three of those vectors and decide what one works best for an org at the time. And it's all exciting stuff that we need to think about.
All right, and another question around change. So if you do a search for a specific change request, can Now Assist provide links to any incidents, problems, or release management requests?
Okay, so this is a great question. Thank you, Stan. So change management is a topic that we will hit hard and heavy in the August release, and then again in November. So again, safe harbor on this, but we're really focused on for the developer to be able to stay where they're at and have Now Assist help to generate the change request. So it would pull together all the data that is available that would include the incident and the problem and help generate the change request itself. It would then be editable and updatable by the developer so that they could have the change be as tidy and accurate as needed. But what we're looking at that if you join a roadmap session, you'll be able to see more on is to support that change summary.
I think just to add to that as well, Stan, if I'm getting the question right, I think you're talking about relevant links to that particular change. I think as part of the change management process today, without Now Assist, if you link a service to that change, you can do a check against the services to check for conflicts and that kind of stuff, and it will bring you up related incidents and requests and things like that. Not requests, but it'll bring up related incidents and changes, etc. So there's already some stuff built into the tool without Now Assist that deals with those kind of things. So if we haven't answered the question right, feel free to put it in the chat and we can work on that. But I think that's it. There's another one that's in from an attendee that says, if I'm an employee via the employee center is creating a request, can Now Assist show potential articles while the employee is typing? I wanted to bring that one out to the panel because it sounds similar to a question we had previously, which is, we don't provide those results as the employee, is typing. However, on submit, you'll get that genius result. Again, I'm guessing that's probably down to the fact that that would consume an assist again. Just like to get the views of the panel on that one.
Yeah, to show something while the employee is typing. I mean, what I've seen and what we showed in the demo here was that, multiple options can be presented. It was on the carousel on the one that we just had because it's again on the June release, but those would be presented serially on prior releases. Yeah, that's a use case I haven't heard yet. And Scott, I definitely agree with the potential drawbacks of it, but I don't know that it couldn't be done. So
I would argue that when an employee is typing for a request, it should be the catalog item that's available rather than the knowledge article. But yes, knowledge article could help. Yeah, I mean, not to Scott's point, it's not available while somebody's typing. Like I think you're referring to if somebody's typing to create an incident, then it'll provide related knowledge articles, right? So, although I think earlier in the VA process, we had come up with an option where, let's say, if somebody is in is clicked on an article, for example, or clicked on a catalog item, for example, a laptop or something, and then opens up the VA would identify that the person is trying to. It's basically context-based virtual agent. where it will identify that the person is trying to order for a laptop and request, send a prompt asking if they want to order that laptop. So slight help there from a virtual agent standpoint, which I believe it will be replicated from an LLM standpoint as well. Again, a good use case to think of here.
All right, we have one more question in the Q&A queue from Joshua. Will the KB article generation features see or reference existing articles that cover a similar topic? And Scott, I see you started typing an answer. Maybe you want to just take it live.
Yeah, I think something we're working on, right? Where we've already kind of highlighted earlier in the session that we're looking for ways not only to generate new knowledge, but to responsibly manage that knowledge that we generate. So, you know, it's something that we're all working on as a team. Anything you want to add, Brian?
No, I think that covers it pretty well. All right, I think we've cleared the queue. So if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to put it in the chat or in the Q&A box in the Zoom, and we will get to your question once it comes up.
Yeah. Hey, in a couple minutes we have left, I did want to go back to the question on change management. One of the roadmap items we have, I believe, for the November release is exactly that. It would be leveraging the Now Assist panel to share more. It's, you know, it's relatively limited in what the Now Assist panel does today. Nothing that's beyond what's inside the incident. But in the future, it's going to be much more conversational. And one of the things you'll be able to do is ask questions about the testing, about conflicts. Those things will be brought up through the panel. And so in this case, you can see that it provided a summary, which of course you can do in the incident. But one of the items that's coming up in the back half of the year, I believe it's targeted for Q4 now. I did want to highlight one or two other things. So we've got some capabilities. I just wanted to show from an owner perspective that we have this simplified virtual agent setup and these LLM topics that can be created. If you're leveraging virtual agent, or even if you haven't yet, the process with the LLM powered VA is much more simple than what we had with the NLU powered virtual agent. We've got a topic migration capability that launched in May. We can go through that today, but I believe it's addressed in some of the platform webinars that have been done. So you can move from the NLU powered virtual agent over to the LLM powered VA. And it makes developing custom topics much more simple. So again, quicker time to value and a better experience. And another thing from an owner perspective I wanted to share was about the out-of-the-box topics that we showed earlier today. I did the one around checking ticket status. There's a handful of other topics that you can leverage out of the box that are some of the most common NLU-powered topics that we've made available out of the box for the LLM-powered virtual agent. See here, a couple of other highlights. From an admin perspective, when you go to configure the prompt management, it is just a feature within incident summarization. So you'll learn how to do it when you get into the product docs, but we showed how you could have more configuration inside of the incident summary, and it's done within that skill. Technically, you would need to, I believe, make a copy of the skill, which you can do now. And then you can configure and customize the prompts and the headers that are shown from the tables that you want to see therein. And again, that's it's kind of a V1 right now. One of the other items I wanted to share is around the conversational catalog overview. This came out with Washington, I believe, back in February, but it's important to show how we went through a conversational catalog item today. Not every catalog item that you might have today in your service catalog is conversational, but you can see which ones are and which ones aren't by going to this conversational catalog overview within your instance if you're on Washington. So that'll be really helpful. You'll be able to prioritize if you want to see conversational catalog items presented in Virtual Agent, you can prioritize those to be migrated and amended as needed to be conversational. So hope that's useful. I see we're just about to the end here, so if there's no other questions, I'd love to take any other questions or comments we have from the audience. But and I did have a couple of other things. So we shared these helpful resources. They were shared in the chat earlier. They will be in the deck. Just have them in here a second time. If you want to participate in a roadmap session for Now Assist for ITSM, please respond to the survey that you'll see when you log out of today's session. And there's some additional enablement content. I just took a little bit of it here, but we've got a bunch of articles that are on the community. I believe that was already shared. If you looked at any of the articles we already shared, you'll be in the community. There's also some Now Assist learning, and highly recommend that you or you share this with anybody who's going to be doing any implementation work on your instance. And I believe I have that link right here. So I'm going to post that in the chat. Whoops. This new system is a little bit more touchy. So that's the boot camp. Highly recommend you go that route if you want to learn more about implementing Now Assist. And then there's some additional events. This is the same link I think we shared earlier if you want to see what else is coming for Now Assist. Brian, are there any other events specifically you want to call out?
We do have one on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, that will be focused on getting enabled. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how to actually turn on and configure Now Assist in Virtual Agent. So if you have any interest in learning more about Now Assist in Virtual Agent, we do recommend you sign up for that event. Again, that's this upcoming Wednesday, I believe at, let me just double check, at
8 or 9, right?
10 a.m. Pacific time.
All right. Hey, Brian, is that a live on ServiceNow event?
That is, yes.
Post number 6 again so we can complete the survey for our info. When you close out of the webinar, you will be presented with the survey. So look for it as soon as you log out. And with that, we're at time. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate the panel, Brian, Gokul,